Hello, and welcome to Totally Schway, a podcast about the DCAU and whatever the hell else I want it to be about. My name is Mary.
And my name is Luke. Do you know, Mary, something that just occurred to me, you never explained what the DCAU is in your introduction. There may be people listening to this that go, you know, this is a wonderful podcast, but what is the DCAU?
The Detective Comics Animated Universe. Duh. Right?
I mean, I suppose technically, yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I noticed, I typed some notes up earlier, and the iPad spelling corrector thing changed DCAU to DACU.
Oh.
Interesting. I don't know what DACU is. Detective Animated Comic Universe.
Oh, maybe.
There we go. Oh, that's what we could call the tie-in comics, the DACU comics. That's getting convoluted now. Big Mikey P, take notes.
Take notes. So, we don't have any news today.
I don't think so.
Then I will have a Substack post this week about fugglers. Or as I like to call them, fugglers.
Yeah, if you don't know what a fuggler is, well, go check out the Substack. I'll put a link to it. There'll probably be a link to it in the top right corner in the info button. If there isn't, it'll probably be in the description as well. So, Mary, you'll need to send me that link at some point.
That's right. I just need to take pictures for it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll link to the original post because you started it like a week or so ago, didn't you? So
maybe 2 weeks ago, before my birthday.
Oh, okay.
Which, by the way, has passed. Can I tell them what I did?
Yeah.
Okay. So I am a huge fan of classic movies. I think I mention that like almost every podcast. And I love Cabaret. I love Cabaret for so many reasons, but I had always wanted to go see the show, like on, Broadway or wherever. Then my niece asked me a question, like a month or so ago. She was like, do you like Cabaret? And I was like, I'm looking at tickets right now. We're going to go. So I went to the Kit Kat Club in London to see Cabaret. And I have to say, I don't go to shows very often because I get very anxious. But that was one of the best things I have ever done. It's second to seeing Ian McKellen's show. It was that great. And it was the fact that they did all aspects of Cabaret, but in like their own way. And it wasn't just a carbon copy of the stuff I've seen like on YouTube and all of that. So I did that. So I love it. Mm-hmm. We also went to Pop Mart, or I went to Pop Mart in London, and it was not very great. And Pop Mart in the US looks fantastic, but over here it was a little tiny pop-up thing, and it was not very good because we were looking for Sunny Angel. I think that's what they're called. I'm not like that type of person because I want the Fuggler keychain things, but I want to do a blind bag with my niece, and we didn't find one. But anyways, that's what I did for my birthday, and the next day was my actual birthday, and we were so tired. We were grumpy, and I honestly spent most of the time with my cat Thor and playing the Lego Supervillains. Mm-hmm. And it was one of the best times.
I was going to say, it sounds like a great way to spend your birthday. Yeah. Better than how I spend most of my birthdays.
And I didn't get a cake this year because we got huge...
We got little slices of cake.
Did we?
Yeah, remember we got Candy's Bakery.
Yeah. If you guys ever go to London, go to this place in Chinatown called the Chinatown Bakery. It used to be called just Bake, but they've kind of done a rebrand. It is fabulous. Some of the best, it's some of the best stuff ever. But we also had XXL croissant and pain au chocolat.
Mm-hmm. And it took 3 days to eat. I'm very disappointed in myself that I couldn't eat it in one go.
I'm okay for croissants and pain au chocolats for a very long time.
Yeah, and we didn't actually finish all of it. We ended up chucking out the last third of the pain au chocolat because it was just too much. Is that
Philip Constantini?
Constantini, I think.
Yeah. Very lovely in Kensington.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was my day. That was like 5 minutes of me explaining that. All right. Should we get to the topic of today's episode?
No.
Okay, I'm going to do it anyway. So today's episode is about... They got away with that?
Yes. So it's things that happened in the DCAU shows that we are surprised the censors let them do.
Yeah.
So do you want to start things off with your first pick, Mary? Because it's a very good one.
So, this one is in Superman, the animated series. I don't remember what season it is. Do you?
The season stuff is very vague.
Um, Bowman's execution.
In The Late Mr. Kent.
Yeah.
So Detective Bowman's execution in The Late Mr. Kent.
Yeah. That one, I mean, this is from mid-90s. Like, obviously, you have certain things that have happened, like the first World Trade Center thing happened. I think that was about 93 that happened. And then you had I think this was after the OKC thing. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, it's, look up OKC Murrah building and you'll know what I'm talking about. So to see something like this on a TV show when you're actually having people in the news go through these things and all of that, it's very, first off, it's real, but it's also there's a part in this episode that I like. Well, I like all of the episode, but the fact that you get one person who's clearly innocent off, and then the thing that is just so surprising to me was the fact that you didn't see the actual execution. Well, you saw how it started. You didn't see it to beginning to end, but yeah, I'm just so surprised for a kids show. Like, this Superman, in my opinion, was more I think it was supposed to be more like bubbly than Batman. Like, it was supposed to be like Batman's the night,
Superman's the day.
Yeah. But this is where people start to realize, wow, Superman is both as well.
It can be, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of touched upon this earlier, but the innocent man is accused of murder and is on death row.
And he didn't do it.
Yeah, and Superman knows he's innocent because he can hear, from using his superpowers, he can tell that the man is not lying. And he finds evidence that exonerates him. And in the process of taking the evidence to the officials as Clark Kent, his car gets blown up. And he has to pretend to be dead and then find a way to exonerate the man without the evidence, which was also destroyed in the explosion.
Yeah.
And they are too late. By the time they get the guilty party's confession and capture him, the innocent party is being executed. So Superman flies over to the prison as fast as he can, smashes through the walls.
One of my favorite scenes of all of the series is right there.
You see the gas come out of the machine, and it is enveloping this innocent man who's screaming and shouting, going, "Please, no, I didn't do it." It's terrible. It's horrific. And Superman smashes through the wall, breaks down the container that he's in, and sucks up all the gas, flies into space, and sprays it out there. And that was, shocking enough. But the end of the episode, after the real culprit is caught and sent to prison,
it's those last scenes,
and is sentenced to the same execution,
or shots, I should say.
Yes, you see him sat in his jail cell as the guards come to take him away and walk him down that silent corridor and sit him in that small chamber, and he's sitting there thinking, how did this happen? I should have got away with this. Clark Kent was blown up. There's no way he could survive that. Unless Clark Kent's Superman. And just as he says that, you see the executioner pull the handle, and that's where the episode ends. Beautiful ending. Beautiful ending. I'm told that Alan Burnett came up with that ending and insisted on ending it with Bowman's execution.
It was so powerful without showing, the gas going in him and stuff like that. It was so blinding.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yes, it does. You already had a frame of reference anyway from the earlier failed execution, so you knew what was going to happen. So they didn't need to show it. And if they had shown it, it would have been too gratuitous, I agree. But ending it there was just artful.
So Superman was a Saturday cartoon, wasn't it?
I don't know. Over here it was, yes.
Yeah. Just think of being mid-90s as a kid watching this And obviously, with all of the stuff going on in the news and all of that, and you watch this and you're like, damn, that's what's going to happen to them. Obviously, maybe not exactly that. Like, but also, innocent people,
Hmm.
they, if Superman doesn't exist, then that means this actually happens to innocent people. And I think as a child, that's what I would have thought.
Yeah.
Because I've just always kind of I look too much into things when
Yeah.
I'm watching them. And it just I cannot believe that this. I mean, I love the fact that it got, it wasn't censored, but it's unbelievable that this was a kids show when we were younger.
Yeah, and one of the things that I think is very remarkable about the episode is that it would be very easy to write a story that is very anti-death penalty. And I think this one is broadly anti-death penalty because of the risk of killing innocent people.
Mm-hmm.
But it also presents the opposite side in showing that it was treated as a just punishment for Bowman, who had murdered a woman, had tried to kill Clark Kent and Lois Lane, stolen a helicopter and opened fire on Superman, which is just like the stupidest thing you can do.
That's like taking a match to water.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. And it very much it's thought provoking. It makes you sit there and think about it rather than telling you the death penalty is wrong, which broadly speaking I agree with. I don't think the death penalty is right, apart from maybe a few exceptions, but we don't do it at all over in England. But yeah, they could have just said death penalty is bad. This is why we shouldn't have it. But they've kind of left it open for you to make your own mind up.
And that's different for kids shows, because
Yeah.
usually with kids shows it's like, no, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad, don't do this, don't talk to strangers, da, 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 da. Okay, I get it, I
Okay,
totally
G.I. Joe.
Yeah,
We're against the death penalty.
thanks, Joseph.
Or Captain Planet.
Yeah. But with that's the great thing. Like, again, many great things about the DCAU, but one of my favorite things about the storytelling in these shows is that it can be open for interpretation most of the time. If there is something that has a right or wrong, they don't tell you what you should think. They show you different characters doing different things. And I like that because as a kid, I was always like, well, why this? Why this? Why this? And these cartoons, these animated series, the why is kind of answered with the openness of it, because it's like, well, that's the point. Why? You should be questioning these things. You shouldn't just take my word for it. You should, look into these things yourself. And I like that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So what is another one that you would like to do?
Okay, so my one. This one's got quite an interesting backstory with it as well, so I'll try to cover that succinctly. But it's from the Batman the Animated Series episode Off Balance.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is the episode that introduces Ra's al Ghul, Talia al Ghul, and the League of Shadows. Now, in the comic books, when the League of Shadows get caught, they have got like a suicide gas that they release that kills them so they can never testify and they'll never be imprisoned.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to have that in Batman the Animated Series. And they do have a gas that incapacitates them. But what it does is, because the censors would not allow them to be killed, they suggested that it would be okay to have their minds wiped. Now that, to me, is far more horrific, because for all intents and purposes, they are dead. They are never coming back. But their bodies are still alive. And when they activate this gas, the censors said, you have to take their masks off so that you can see that they are still alive. And when they take the mask off of these assassins that have gassed themselves, their pupils have become pin dots. Their eyes are massively wide. And It's just absolutely horrific. And if there wasn't a line of dialogue from Commissioner Gordon slightly, like a few minutes later, saying, yeah, we checked them out, but they're still alive, but they wiped their minds, you would assume that they were dead. The original plan was just to have them gas themselves and then fall down dead and leave it at that. But the censor, I believe it was, what was her name? Avery Coburn, I believe it was her, insisted that you needed to be able to see that they were still alive, and that involved taking the masks off and seeing their horrible, contorted faces. It was shocking. I think it's far worse than just someone dropping dead. Don't know what you think about it, Mary.
I think it's weird. I mean, it's in a good way that you would rather have them be basically they go insane, don't they? In a sense,
it's not even insane. They're just turned off. They're just turned off. Yeah.
So you would rather them stay in the body with nothing there than have them peacefully pass.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how peaceful it is, but
I'm trying to go back to how I felt as a kid in watching stuff like this. Whereas in my head, I have always thought that there's two things in life. You can live or you don't.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of gray area with like a plug or with just, losing all sense of self, that's all entirely up to you and your family. But I would not like that.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that really seals the deal here for me is that I think it's far more horrific, and it's funny that it came about at the insistence of the censors who are trying to shield children.
Yeah,
that they came up with something that was much more terrible, and they approved it.
Yeah,
and they saw the episode and went, "Yep, this is fine."
Yeah, the thing is, that's scarier to me than watching someone pass.
Yeah, just
what I mean?
I mean, they don't even need. Yeah, they don't even need to say that they've died. They could have just released the gas, fallen over, and then just left it at that and never mentioned it again.
Yeah.
Which I believe was the plan based on my conversation with Kevin Altieri, but he'll probably correct me if I'm mistaken. But
yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like you think about it more often than if they were to have just passed. You think about that, you're like, what an absolutely tragic way to live if you've lost all sense of self and you're just there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that to me, that's So my next one, it was a small subpoena.
Yes. So for anyone that hasn't committed the scripts from Batman the Animated Series to their brain, that is a line from Harley Quinn in the episode "The Man Who Killed Batman" when she's posing as a lawyer to free Sid the Squid from jail. Bullock says to her, "Hey, don't I know you from someplace?" Because obviously she's disguised as a lawyer. She's not a real lawyer. She's Harley Quinn. And she said, "I think I served you a subpoena once."
It was a small subpoena.
Which is obviously a penis joke.
Yeah.
But the way Bullock reacts, where he's like scratching his chin, like, no, that's not it. Oh my God.
That's the thing that gets me. It's not necessarily her saying that. It's the Commissioner Gordon's like...
That's Bullock.
I'm not... Sorry. Bullock is like, and it's also how they like drew the character, because he was doing like the chin thing, wasn't he? Like where they do the chin, and I was like, oh, I'm thinking of another thing of Commissioner Gordon as well, but that's from an earlier episode than that, I think. I love they have those like, I would say, creepy uncle moments. I hope you guys know what I mean by that. And I'm not saying like I just think of a creepy uncle when I hear those jokes, but they do it in a less vulgar way.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, there's no way that any child watching that is going to know what a subpoena is. And for anyone listening that doesn't know what a subpoena is, it's like a
call to court.
Yeah, it's like a summons that you have to come and testify.
Do.
So you don't get...
Oh, no, that's...
you don't... Judge Mary in action there. No, so you don't get small subpoenas or large subpoenas. It's just like, you've been summoned, come to court on this date. Um, but it's funny because it sounds a little bit like penis,
Yeah,
and
it's risque.
she's basically saying that she's calling him a little dick man.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way, and that
Oh,
would
beep.
completely go over the heads of all children, pretty much.
Well, it depends on what kind of kids. Because back in the 90s, I'm not sure. I would have known what they were talking about, but I know, like, for instance, my cousins who were younger than me, they'd be like, huh?
They'd probably just nod, wouldn't even question it. Go, okay, that's what she did. She served him a subpoena once. What is a subpoena?
Yeah, it would be my luck that one of my cousins, probably Briley, I'm going to mention him by name, he'd be like, well, actually, a subpoena is a summons to court.
Yeah.
And I don't think he would basically say exactly
Dear Paul Dini.
at 6 years old, he would, no, how old, what year did that come out?
93.
Oh, he wasn't even alive. He'd be in his mother's belly. Knock, 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 excuse me.
Hello, Paul Dini. I'm sorry that your joke does not make any sense.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, I agree. Most kids would be like, okay, move on.
Yes. I mean, but that's why it works so well, and that's probably why it flew under the radar.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there was a similar innuendo line that the censors approved for Harley and Ivy, where the Joker comes to Harley and Ivy's home, and he says, "My, haven't you been a pair of busy bees?"
Yes.
Now, the original line, which was approved by the censors, I'm told, is
Oh,
"You've been
God.
busy beavers." Now, beaver is it's old-fashioned
think I
slang
know,
for lady
yeah.
genitals, right?
Yeah, I think
So
so.
he's kind of making the lesbian reference there, and it was approved. They were going to say it. I believe it was recorded,
This is going to be censored.
but Andrea Romano said it was too on the nose,
Yeah.
and said let's change the line, and pretty much everyone agreed. I think maybe they probably just didn't like hearing Mark Hamill's Joker saying that.
Yeah.
They may not have even recorded it. I'm going off a half-recalled conversation with Dan Reba.
I keep kicking you. I do apologize. I'm not meaning to kick you.
It's fine. But the point is, they kind of self-censored there, and it never happened. But
I'm glad they did because I think it's more unique the way that he said it.
But it is kind of surprising that the censors would go, yeah, that's okay. Call them busy beavers.
Yeah, but it's just so I don't know what that. It's just so vulgar to me when you say it like that, and it's very like I don't know. I guess it's because I'm from a different time, and do you know what I mean?
Mary's from 1840.
No, I mean that particular phrase in my head. I think it's like pre 1985.
Yes. Yeah.
By the way, you probably can't hear it, but if you can hear chewing, Gilly is chewing his snake on the floor.
It's a toy he has.
Yeah, it's not an actual snake.
No.
But yeah, I think that's when I say pre 1985. What I'm saying is like
It's an old-fashioned term.
yeah. Whereas modern day stuff, I think I've said the year that I was born before. But I am late 80s, so I didn't hear that as much growing up as other people would.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, anything else you want to add on the innuendo from Harley Quinn?
What episode was it that? Oh, it was the Joker and Gordon episode where Charlie Collins was kidnapped
Yes.
in Joker's favor.
Yes.
And then when they go into this like, well, it's not really a gala, but it's like
it's a celebration of
yeah.
Jim Gordon, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
As you should celebrate him every day, duh. But Harley Quinn's come in, and she's walking in
With a big cake.
yeah, with a big cake, and they think she's a dancer.
Oh, yes. And Commissioner Gordon looks over at Hamilton Hill like, what is this?
Yeah,
And Hill just kind of shrugs and goes, hey!
yeah. I love that.
That's another thing that went over kids'
Yeah.
heads. Yes.
I love that so much because it's like, no, that's the type of joke that I probably heard growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just it was not too over the top, and it was just enough risque to know like, hey, this is a grown-up thing.
Well,
Grown up watching this.
yeah, and you had Bullock like rubbing his hands
Yeah.
together going,
That was the part. That was
entertainment.
Yeah.
Like,
that was the worst part of it.
Yeah.
Not the worst, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So do you want to do your next one?
Yeah, okay, so I'm actually sticking with BTS
And it seems like you're sticking with
No, my last one isn't, but this one will be
another
another gas related thing.
to go with your name.
No, this is gas, Joker
Yeah.
gas. So the Joker gas effect. Now, in the comics, the Joker gas causes people to get a big grin on their face and die. Already established, censors said dying was a big no-no. But what they did allow is for like characters to be kind of anguished by it and just laughing endlessly. And in some ways, again, this was more horrific. So if you think about the scene in Jokerfish where G. Carl Francis has been threatened by the Joker and he's got Batman and the police guarding him all night,
Mm-hmm.
and the Joker pulls up in that truck and launches his gas swordfish through the window
Yeah.
that then sprays the gas out, and G. Carl Francis has his bad reaction. Now, when he's reacting, his face is twisted up and tearing up. It looks so painful. His eyeballs bulge out of his head and start to turn bloodshot.
Mm-hmm.
He's just laughing uncontrollably and spasming on the floor. Batman has to sedate him to treat him. Now, that's not a cure, as they establish in this show. If you look at, say, Arthur Reeves in Mask of the Phantasm, when he was infected with Joker toxin this time, and he could not stop laughing. They
Even when he was sedated, he was kind of still...
Yeah, he was still chuckling a little bit, and the doctor said, "You have to remain calm to allow the toxin to work its way through your system."
Mm-hmm.
But he couldn't stay calm
Yeah.
because Batman interrogated him, and he just went into absolute hysterics. And if you read the tie-in comics in Batman and Robin Adventures Annual 2, which is a sequel to Mask of the Phantasm, Arthur Reeves' face was stuck in a permanent grin after that. And you can imagine that happening to people like G. Carl Francis and the second copyright official.
You'd save a lot on Botox, though.
Oh, yeah, I suppose so. Always look on the bright side. G.
Another
Carl Francis, no more Botox.
And you're switching one toxin for another. Just fine.
Yeah.
Because that's, I mean, Botox is a toxin. I mean, some people use it, and that's great. If it works for you, great. But the Joker toxin, I'd probably do Botox over that.
Yeah. And it's funny, by the time of the new Batman adventures, they were okay with hinting that the Joker toxin was lethal. Like in Holiday Nights, they show a photograph of someone who had been poisoned by the Joker laying with like a chalk outline.
Mm-hmm.
And that was considered fine. And to be honest, that wasn't really that horrific. It's like, oh no, it's terrible, this person's died. But when you watch, it's particularly in The Laughing Fish as G. Carl Francis kind of contorts and twists and agonizes. It's just very, very shocking.
Yeah. And you know what the shocking thing is that you've seen things like this in like history books and stuff. Obviously not the actual like Joker toxin, but you've seen different diseases that can do this to you, and different bacteria eating brain things. And it's like, oh my god, that's a cartoon, but that can actually happen to somebody. And it's scary.
Yeah.
It's really scary.
Yeah, losing control of your body is a very horrific thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's basically what body horror is.
Yeah, but there's also people in the world like that have certain like Parkinson's and stuff like that, where they can't control, and it is a very eye-opening thing, even again for a show that was mainly for children. But watching it back now, because you and I are watching BTAS back, as we've mentioned before, a lot of this stuff has kind of molded us as adults, hasn't it?
Yeah, me definitely.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff that we had seen back then, I think it prepared us for our life ahead. Because I am no longer shocked at certain things, and I do believe that Batman, the animated series, helped with that, along with, watching Interview with the Vampire, duh. It helped mold me into who I am today, and things like the Joker toxin and stuff like that, I also think helped me with, when I was a child anyway, saw someone that had like Parkinson's or something that caused their body to move and they couldn't do anything about it. I think it made me more sympathetic or empathetic. Is it empathetic?
It's one of the pathetics.
Yeah. Yeah, it's me in general.
Shut up.
But and I just, again, a kid's show, and I've said this like 85 times just in this one podcast, that wasn't as censored as you might think, molds you into the adult that you are.
Yeah, it does.
And it's little things like this, because for this, it's a toxin. Like, it's supposed to be funny and da 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 da, but actually it taught me how to see people, because it showed that these people were actually not happy. They were not laughing because they wanted to. They were laughing because they had this horrific toxin inside of them, and it was painful.
Yeah. I mean, in some ways, that's worse than death, to be alive and not being able to control yourself in any way, shape, or form,
Yeah.
not being able to do anything. Just being aware that you're existing in agony it's just horrible.
Because you can see, like, their face, they're grinning and laughing and everything, but it's the eyes and how the creators drew the eyes. That's where you see the pain, and in their voice.
Yeah.
Oh, like when they're doing the like at the end of their laugh, it was so heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I think I'm surprised it got past the censors. But again, it's the censors saying you can't show dead bodies, but you can show people spasming out of control and foaming at the mouth with their eyes bulging out of their head. That's fine.
Period.
So on to perhaps a slightly lighter suggestion, Mary.
Please. So this isn't just one thing. This is the Shayera John Vixen. Or I should say Vixen first, because I think I love her. She's like va va boom, boom. She's got some of my favorite wardrobes in the show. Because obviously she's modeled, duh. But there are some things that they say to each other in this that is just like the innuendo of it all. And Luke was like, you have to give me examples and everything. I'm like, the whole thing. The whole thing. It was literally an unlimited at the end. I mean, come on. John was probably technically dating two people.
Well, yeah, I suppose you could chuck in Carter Hall as well a little.
Oh, God, yeah.
Do you remember I forget which episode it was, but it's when Shayera's going on a date with him and she meets Batman in the elevator.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
he's like, you may want to reconsider that dress, because he thinks Carter Hall's a stalker.
Yeah.
But then when you see her the next day with him on their adventure, he makes a comment about how much nicer she looked without the dress on. I'm like, oh, okay, that was their first date, and that's who Shayera is.
Independent woman.
No shame at all.
Let her do what she wants. It's just
yeah.
Talking about being nudie.
Yes.
I love that whole thing. And the thing is, I'm glad it wasn't censored.
No, it's very flirtatious.
Yeah. And it is, some of those stories in Justice League Unlimited are very dark. Like, very dark. Yes, they try to put a positive outlook on it, but in some of the things, there's not a positive outlook. And especially going into Unlimited from Justice League, you have Shayera coming as a broken, kind of ostracized person going into this, yet she starts to, creep back into, something that resembles herself.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get the nice innuendos and the jokes coming back, and it's like, yeah. And it just really, it brightens my day.
I think it was a very mature depiction of a complicated relationship or relationships. And I don't necessarily think it should be censored. But as you said, it's surprising that it was in a cartoon aimed at like 12-year-olds.
Yeah, because it was on Cartoon Network, this one.
I think so.
Yeah, I think so. I don't remember.
It was on Toonami over here.
I have no idea what that is.
Well, I'm sure other people will. But yes, yeah. I mean, Justice League in general did have a little bit of
It's
raunchiness.
Do you want to know something? And I might have said this before, but what I think is people growing up with the show, it feels as if the show grew up with these people as well.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like,
Yes, as the standards kind of got less strict over time, they were able to show more mature things as the audience matured. Because when Justice League came out, what year was that?
2001?
2001?
Maybe 2000?
Might have been 2002. Batman Beyond was 99, and that went on until 2001. Let's just say it was 2001. So I would have been like 16 when that came out. Oh, Mary's just checking Justice League. 2001 to 2004.
Not like I haven't looked into this show enough.
Yeah. And by the time Justice League Unlimited came out in what, 2005? I would have been nearly 20. So yeah. And I think Justice League Unlimited was a bit more mature than
So you like Unlimited more than JLA, don't you?
Yes, I do.
See, I like
Justice
JLA more than Unlimited.
Justice League Season 1 was uneven, but Justice League Season 2 was very good.
So were my emotions. Dare you? Antidepressants work.
Justice League is my antidepressant.
One of them.
Yeah.
I also take one in pill form. But the visuals and just all of the stories with... Oh, especially with Vixen. Vixen was one of those characters where you wanted to be her best friend. That's how I felt. Like, I was like, as soon as I saw Vixen, at first I was like, oh, someone took John from Shaggyara? And then literally 5 minutes later, it's like, damn! Girl, you have to make me like you. And then it's just like awesome.
Yes, it is.
I will always, because the actress that does Vixen's voice, she was on 911, I believe.
Yes, she is.
And she's also, isn't she Wonder Woman in the Supervillains game? The Lego one?
Superwoman.
Wonder Woman.
Oh, she actually Wonder Woman in the Lego.
Or the Superwoman, whatever.
Superwoman from the Crime Syndicate.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think she was the voice actress for Superwoman in the Crisis on Two Earths movie.
Ooh, I love her so much. Like, her voice is just, it's like butter.
Yes.
No, I mean, like, it's truly so relaxing. And she could tell me to do anything, and I'd be like, girl, done. When, where, how. Yeah.
So should we go with my last pick?
Sure.
So this one isn't from BTAS, it's not from Superman, it's not from Justice League. It is from Batman Beyond. My voice went really weird then.
Yeah.
I meant to say Batman Beyond. And it's from the episode April Moon. Now, April Moon is an episode that a lot of people bring up because it's kind of messed up. So it's about these this gang of cybernetically enhanced criminals who are blackmailing a prominent doctor who specializes in making like medical prosthetics, I suppose. Can't say prosthetic. You can't even say the word prosthetics. And they say they've kidnapped his young wife and they will only let her go once he's finished augmenting their bodies. Now, it turns out that the wife is part of their gang and she had seduced the doctor just with the intention of, getting these free, powerful upgrades for her boyfriend and his friends. So she's betrayed him. And when the doctor finds out, he's voiced by Ed Begley Jr., by the way, who played Charlie Collins, who you mentioned earlier in Batman. He was also Germs.
I like him a lot.
Yeah, he's very good. But he does an excellent job in this episode because, the doctor is reluctant to help these awful criminals. But he tells Batman about a kill switch that he had built in to disable their implants that basically leaves them paraplegic, practically. But they go back to the doctor, not knowing that he knows that it's all a scam. And the episode ends with the doctor putting his wife's boyfriend under for surgery. And the implication is he's going to brutally murder him while he's under,
Mm-hmm.
because his wife is not really in danger.
Yeah.
She's not really his wife. She just pretends to be.
Yeah.
So he's got nothing to lose, and he's going to get his awful revenge. And that last shot where you can see it from the gang member's perspective of the mask going over his face, and as he starts to fade out, you just see the doctor lift the scalpel up towards him. Oh, it's very shocking. Again, it's very similar to the Bowman execution in that you don't see it, but the fact that you don't see it makes it more powerful. And Mary's just brought up his character's name. It was Dr. Corso.
Mm-hmm. I couldn't remember the name. His
No,
name.
I couldn't remember it either. I should have done
I don't
a bit of
remember
research.
anything, but that's fine.
Yeah. But it's the power of the imagination, and I think that's what a lot of these shows do. They get around the restrictions by implying things, and your mind fills in the blanks and makes it all that much worse.
So I'm writing a video at the moment, and I talk about stuff like this. Well, I mentioned something where I feel like this is such a classic movie technique.
Yeah.
It really is. It really is. And I think one of the reasons I love classic movies so much is techniques like this, because I can see something different in, say, Psycho, when you just see the blood in the drain.
Yeah.
I can see and imagine something different happening than you can, but neither of us are wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be as horrible as we think, or as horrible as whatever.
Yeah.
And it's awesome, because your imagination can make up what you want it to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. That's the power of the imagination.
Yeah. But yeah, finally working on a new video, by the way. I took a little break from all of that for a bit, because I got a new job, and I want to say it was Gilly's fault, because he was just so damn cute. And I just took a break from being online for a long time, so my new videos will start soon-ish.
Cool.
I have to tell my editor that he needs to help me more. By the way, my editor's Luke.
Yeah, I think they guessed that.
Yeah.
Right. So those were all of our how did they get away with that moments. So feel free to share any of yours in the comments, and we'll read them out in the next episode. So the first comment is from RJ Productions, who says, "Dude, wasn't there a Sewer King type character in Hey Arnold too?" And he's right, there was. Oh, by the way, the last episode, I should have said this earlier, we were talking about the episode The Underdwellers with the villain, the Sewer King.
Hey Arnold, wasn't that the guy with the
football-shaped head?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't watch that show.
I used to watch it quite a bit.
Was it good?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Funnily enough, the girl who played Helga in Hey Arnold voiced Annie in Growing Pains.
You know what? You're not the first person or the second person to tell me that Hey Arnold was good.
Yeah. I've not watched it in like 25 years, maybe longer. Oh my god, maybe 30 years. Ugh.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but anyway, I'm going to continue Harry's comment. It says, "I'm writing my second book in a supernaturally shared universe, and the main characters are a married couple who are the parents of Katie Jarvis. Our main lead in the story, my ex, is a vampire. And I hope you don't mind, but I'm using your banter and wholesome aura in this podcast as an inspirational template.
There you go. I'm just kidding.
As well as my dad and stepmom's brand of banter for their dialogue together. Well, just so long as you share the profits with us, Harry, that's fine."
No. No.
Also, at 6 minutes and 54 seconds, to be honest, Mary, it's lucky that the kid met Batman, because the words soft spot and children in the same sentence could have an entirely different meaning in the context of more shady people, especially nowadays on the internet. Ugh. Yeah, I agree.
It's literally, I've had to stop going on certain websites because of that. So I don't know. I know what you're talking about.
Let's just be glad Batman isn't voiced by, or this episode wasn't made by, Dan Schneider. Oh dear, ouch.
Oh gosh.
I've decided to adapt my Batman story into a movie script rather than in book format as originally intended. It only makes sense as I want to go into filmmaking and all. Have a great week, you too. Thanks,
You
Harry.
have a great week as well.
Okay, so the next comment is from the Phantasm, who says, "Hello, Dynamic Duo. Since you're reading this on Saturday, it's actually my birthday today."
My birthday!
Wow. Moments in the DCAU that I was surprised weren't censored. Guess I can't say anything from the DCAU movies because that's a different restriction, so nothing from Return of the Joker. Plus nothing that everyone has talked to death about, like the death of the Graysons, Barbara falling in over the edge. Oh right, Harley coming out of the giant pie and Beware the Creeper. Also, Hugh Hefner in Justice League was certainly something I never expected to see.
Forgot to mention that.
Yes.
That was just the whole...
Yeah, there's plenty of other things we could have mentioned, but we tried to keep the conversation to like half an hour and it ended up running for 40 minutes, but oh well. Now that's just in good fun because really I think the most disturbing imagery came from Batman Beyond. Yes, as I alluded to towards the end of our points with April Moon. But yes, thank you for your comment. Okay, so next we have Evangelos Voskolos, who says, "I absolutely love that Batman barely pulls his punches with the Sewer King. Sewer King robbed kids of their childhood. It's like Bruce was robbed of his, or just like Bruce was robbed of his." Jesus Christ, I cannot read today. Even though the plot of the episode was about a crazy guy with alligators bossing a group of kids around, it got kind of serious, and I love it.
It was a good episode.
Yeah, I mean, it's
I think if Superman were dealing with it, do you remember that moment in Superman the animated series where you saw that he turned into like, I don't give an F. I want to hurt this person.
Mm-hmm.
I think Clark would have been a little bit different. Whereas Batman knew that this person would get his. He knew he would get his if he went to prison.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think he had to. That's my interpretation of it.
I think that's a reasonable interpretation. The next comment comes from Keishi23, who is a new commenter. Thank you for your comment, Keishi23. It is all emojis, unfortunately. It's 4 smiling and crying laughter emojis, followed by 2 party poppers and 3 hearts, which I take as an endorsement. And they have a very fetching profile image of a Bruce Timm painting for a cover of one of his collected editions with his Batman Adventures stories that's got Batman with his cape up, and inside of the cape you can see like Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn and the Joker and Clayface and Roxy Rocket, etc.
We love.
It's a good image. Well done. Good choice. Next comment is from Lowell Lucas Jr., who says, "You play chicken today on Totally Schway. You'll get a scolding so bad, followed by an after-school PSA. One of Batman's lessons of the day." Okay, well done.
That's probably one of my faves.
I felt like it was a little bit too long in the middle, but you know,
who cares what you think?
I'm not a poet, so what the hell do I know?
What you think.
I know, exactly. No one cares. It's fine. Hello, everyone. Thanks for the awesome comments and well wishes. I've returned to work, but honestly, I'm still in a lot of pain. I work at the Broadmoor. Feel free to look it up. Broadmoor is a prison in the UK. I know you're not in the UK. It was the Broadmoor. Oh, it's a hospital, a psychiatric hospital. Oh, no.
Oh, that's here.
Yeah, I know. I thought it was a prison, Broadmoor, but yeah, it's a psychiatric hospital. Oh, it's basically Arkham.
Oh my God, do you work for Broadmoor, Miami Beach?
He might do. I think he lives in Florida. I could be mistaken.
Does he live in Florida?
I might be thinking of somebody else. Anyway, but thankfully HR is helping me transfer to another department to help with my vision. It's still painful and any help moving forward is welcomed. Still, I don't want to sound negative as I still greet our guests with kindness and go each day with optimism. Also, maybe it is the
I don't want to dox him. We need to take that out.
Yeah. We haven't shared his address.
Okay.
he just said Google it as well, and you
Okay.
Googled it. It's okay.
Oh my God, are we going to go to Miami?
Also, Luke, I heard it pronounced Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball Zeto from my cousin who toured Japan for over 5 years. So I too have told off annoying Americans and told them to piss off. Yes, I'm an American too. You just got to put your foot down. Well, yeah, I know. I can be such a pedant sometimes. It doesn't really matter if you say Z or Z, but it's Z.
I say Z,
Yeah, I know, because you're American, that's
but I
fine.
also say Z.
But I'm talking about the title of the show. It was Dragon Ball Z. Some people call it Dragon Balls, which, okay.
No, that's wrong.
Or Dragon Ball Z, but which is what they use in the American
There's
dub.
a space between ball and Z
Yeah.
or Z.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I say? I say Z when I'm speaking to Americans, and I say Z when I'm speaking to British
Well,
people.
you're adaptable.
Unless they like Americans, and then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anyway, this isn't a Dragon Ball podcast, nor is it a linguistic podcast, and I'm sure someone who is an actual linguist will come along and tell me I'm full of nonsense. But anyway.
Tell us we're all wrong.
Continuing the comment, it says, Luke, I seriously look forward to your video on the Underdwellers. It's a personal favourite of mine. Honestly, I know it's been a popular belief that Batman in My Basement, Critters and the Underdwellers are considered some of the worst BTAS episodes, but I completely disagree. Honestly, that honour of the worst episodes can go to something more deserving, such as Prophecy of Doom, The Cult of the Cat, or Animal Act. Well, I don't think you're wrong at all. I mean, I think maybe I've been too harsh on the Underdwellers in the past. I always kind of put it towards like mid to low end on my episode ranking, but it's not that bad. It has some silly stuff in it, but it's a kids' cartoon. What do you expect? I know these episodes may be objective as someone out there may love them, but you got to admit they're quite bad. Even one of my faves, The Ultimate Thrill, won't be brought up in conversations much. Sorry, Roxy Rocket. At least the aforementioned bad episodes have something memorable and give a talking point to. These episodes are either completely forgettable or are only remembered fondly with an annoyed groan. On to the master of my pretties. It's funny you mentioned the Sewer King and the children feel like anime. Well, that's probably because some of the designers and illustrators from TMS worked on this episode. They also contributed to the hit show before Batman, which was Fox's Peter Pan and the Neverland Pirates, and the beautifully animated film Little Nemo in Slumberland.
Shut the front door. I hadn't watched it, but I thought I was having like a dream or something when I was thinking about that Peter Pan show. Because I was like, oh no, it doesn't exist. I could have easily looked it up. I could have easily done that, but you've made me feel less crazy for thinking that it exists because you've actually said it does. I don't know why I've said that to you guys, but I have these moments where I'm like, did I make that up? Do you ever have moments like that?
Yeah, most of my life, actually. Sewer King feels like he got plucked right out of that show and somehow ended up in Gotham. He would have been a legit foil to both Peter Pan and Tim Curry's Captain Hook, as he has mastered crocodiles to be his perfect watchdogs and has such disdain for disobedient children. Even his attire fits perfectly from Neverland's art direction, as his Victorian attire is worn, tattered, followed by its use of browns and with a few red hues in between. I just love it. So, thanks, Luke, for reading my tome. I apologise to your throat in advance and hope you drink plenty of uncucumbered water to help. You know what? You might have heard it a moment ago. My voice nearly went just then. I felt it wobble. And I'm only like 3 comments in, so we're not off to a great start.
Who was it say that I should do the comments?
Big Mikey P.
You know what? I'll try to do a paragraph of yours, Big Mikey P, when it comes up.
When his comment comes up, I'll pass the phone over to you and you can read it out.
We'll
see how long you go.
Please pass it back to Luke.
To continue and finish Lowell Lucas Jr.'s comment, he also says, yes, Mary, Tara Strong is Timmy Turner as well as Raven and the current Harley. And please keep up the chicken news screen wiper as I look forward to hearing about your fluff babies. May they heal well and defeat the Gnome King with their eggs and winning personality. Heart emoji, chicken emoji, and a chicken drumstick, which may be a little insensitive.
I'm glad to hear that you're doing a little bit better and that you're able to go back to work and everything, by the way, Lowell. Stupid eyes.
Yeah. Thanks to you all, and hope your day doesn't end with a well-meaning PSA. Heart emoji and looks like a forlorn expression. TTFN. Ta-ta for now.
Have I told you guys what I've been doing recently before I go to bed? And I don't know if it's a good thing or not. I read the news when I need to read the news, which is a couple times a week to, culture myself on what's going on in the world. But I used to do it every day, multiple times a day. I can't do that anymore. I can't do that anymore for my own mental health. So what I do is I read all things interesting or real history uncovered. And I do that while watching American Dad. But recently, I think I should watch Batman or something for a good PSA because I don't need to see what people that were on a shipwreck in the Arctic look like 100 years because they were so well preserved.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw that the other day and I was like, you know what, it's time to go to bed.
Yeah. So the next comment is from Big Mikey P. Michael Andre Parlon. So Mary, you can read it. Save people's ears.
Okay. To be fair, I don't fall asleep when watching anything, even if it's American Dad or Spy Kids, but yeah, almost anything DCAU related is hard to yawn at. I agree. Granted, having to harvest mushrooms in the sewers is a thing in works like the Russian Metro novel / magazines. Yeah, I've heard that. At 7:58, with certain rogues in mind, this may sound absurd, but do remember that we're still sharing out as dangerous foes to Batman at the point of in-universe time. In a few years or so, the likes of the Joker, Poison Ivy, and Clayface will end up making the Sewer King feel less odious, after all. Apparently, Alfred can't handle real rowdies who aren't baby Bruce Wayne or well-raised acrobatic Dick Grayson. You want to know what? I found that interesting because Bruce must have been obviously he at that time.
He was 8.
Yeah, um, Bruce probably would have been out of that phase, and his parents probably dealt with that. And then obviously their untimely passing happened, and he was just too sad to be rowdy. And then he became a ninja. Literally became a ninja. 9:49. I don't know. There are such stupid kids playing such stupid games in real life. See the Railway Children of the Philippines. Some end up, well, predictably. Maybe I'm not going to read that one. We don't need to be. Maybe you should read this one.
Some may end up predictably dead, if not maimed, leaving many regrets. If anything, it reminds me of a certain Stephen King book and movie moment, so it feels right to me. We'll await the upcoming Sewer King vid without needing membership, by the way. Traitor!
What?
He said he was going to wait for the Sewer King video to go public, but rather than join it as a channel member. Betrayal!
Don't you worry, I do that too.
Agony.
I do. I wait.
I will never recover from this betrayal.
I put the subtitles on. Guys, I don't know if you guys know that. So if there's any mistakes in the subtitles, that's me. I still will wait like I'll do the subtitles, but I won't like retain a lot, and then I'll wait a week or 3 to watch the video.
I need to continue this comment because we've spent way too long on it already. For all intents and purposes, episodes like The Underdwellers are surprisingly rewatchable. Then a bunch of X-Men episodes say Secrets Not Long Buried, which is truly an example of awkwardly done old Western animation special storytelling. Don't at me folks like Julia, Doc Widener and Lowell Lucas Jr. And a lot of the Proud Family's reboot episodes. I curse a friend for making me watch those while on a visit. Curiously, though, even I think Prophecy of Doom is easier to watch when compared to Static Shock's Jimmy and Where Rubber Meets the Road. Something about those two episodes didn't pace well to me, and others, while the otherwise cliched and weak Beat-Ass episodes didn't make me look away from cringe part of the time in comparison. Oh dang, I really think I'm not into Static Shock anymore. No wonder being it felt like a trial, while Justice League Unlimited felt like a breather that goes back to the popcorn-worthy plot. Challenging since Static is important to the DCAU lore. See the Worlds Collide script and the JLU's The Once and Future Thing two-parter, which means a completionist's grind. One thing to add though, Big Mikey P, if you had read the script, you'd know that the script says the title of the episode is Fearful Symmetry. It literally says it on the first page. Fearful Symmetry. Anyway. Now I can see the similarities between Savile and the Sewer King. Oh no. Wonder if it was neatly intentional on the creative's part or conveniently coincidental. Probably a coincidence. If Mary loves reading about missing persons cases, then me loving to read about time slips, ghost ships and clairvoyant dreams because UFOs, Bigfoot, Mothman and skinwalkers have become a bit boring. Finally, someone who actually deems I've got Batman in my basement as relatively creepy. Kudos, Mary. However, I complain of another someone not being a fan of Home Alone type plots. The original duology of those movies are long-time gems for a reason, Luke. Meh is my response. Luke's right, the kids do have the anime feel and their designs. Must say it's surprisingly aged well, unlike the Muscle Man Woman Marvel cartoon designs. 33 minutes and 55 seconds. It's a fine scene. Kind of foreshadows the aforementioned Jimmy too. However, it's no deadly force by Greg Wiseman's gargoyles. I'm actually fine with antique guns and other assorted weapons kept on homes for historical display though. There's just something about public and private museums that makes me think, oh dear, that place is going to burn down sometime in the future and thus destroy much of history and waste their preservation efforts. Can't risk that really. Dang, no mention on how the Sewer King's alligators are actually tamed, thus subverting expectations of the guy being molar rammed if one knows they're Indiana Jones. I don't see how a BTAS/Totally Spies crossover would work. A Batman Beyond Kim Possible crossover would work better. No, not because of Will Friedle's voice actor illusions, especially with how many Disney works can surprisingly fit in the same multiverse. But still, good to know someone also acknowledges how Totally Spies ends properly on Season 5. 48 and 23. Yes, I'm also referring to the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Strong start, but as it went on, it got rambling. Personal binge updates. Oh, good, I've been waiting for this. I've just finished Anne of Green Gables, 1978, episode 12. The amethyst brooch incident is forgiven, and she's going to Avonlea School next. And re-binged Girls and Panzer episode 4. Suffice to say, the British-esque St. Gloriana one on Ori. Ori? O-R-I, blah, 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 blah. I'm tripping over my words, sorry. And Luke may adore the red tank jacketed likes of Sherlockian, Jarling, Watsonian, Orange, Picoe, or Pico. You alright making enough noise there with your notepad?
I need to write something down before I forget.
Okay, good. I've lost my place in Big Mikey P's comment. Analytical Assam and later Cocknesian? Is that a word? Rose Hip. Next up, the Americanesque Saunders, for which Mary may adore Boisterous Kay, Boyish Charmer Naomi, and Eavesdropping Ariza Elisa. Finally finished Lorna Doone. Sure, there was a quelling of the Monmouth Rebellion, the British guys like Luke may know the historical event, and there was blood on the altar, but overall Ruth Huckaback sure proved herself. John Ridd ended up a blessed man. Lorna is still Lorna, and the book, though overly wordy, is surprisingly fresh for its time. Would recommend to curious modern day reader, really. I'm also reading Dark Lord: The Rise of Darth Vader now, the ultimate sequel to Labyrinth of Evil and the ROTS novelization. Which one is that? Return of the Skywalkers, Rise of the Skywalker. I can't remember what it's called. I'm not a Star Wars guy. Anyway, after that, I'm pondering on either the Han Solo Adventures, Skywalker's A Clone Wars Story and Lone Wolf, A Tale of Obi-Wan and Anakin, or Cloak of Deception. Right, so this word, spelled T-S-E-T-S-E, is pronounced Che-Che, apparently. There's no C-H in it. Sorry. How is anyone supposed to know that, Big Mikey P? I'm fine with Z becoming Z. It's literally written as, right, T-S-E, T-S-E together. You would probably say that as say-say.
But put it in Google Translate first. Like, not to translate it.
I don't have time. This is taking long enough already. I've lost my place now. I'm going to have to start from the beginning. No, it's fine. He said something about Z, didn't he? The key, as in secret Brainiac duplicate in disguise, could very well be. I think I remember The Cable Guys, the movie with a character mentioning playing Mortal Kombat with a friend from Vietnam. Basically, he foreshadowed the concept of international online gaming servers. 1 hour, 1 minute and 55 seconds. Flaw. The DCAU's Kara Inze didn't live in Krypton. She lived on the neighbor planet Argo. Yes. Though we lost the dark anti-Kryptonian government subplot, we gained stuff like having a favoured Jor-El and the sneaky Jonathan Kent voice coming out of him. Oh, I'm honoured to see peeps like Scrin have long-form comments too. Beats separate small comments in some ways. I doubt we'll have more Disney Star Wars quality TV movie stuff like Andor and Rogue One for several more years again. Please really join the hardworking Legends continuity multimedia fandom. We have interesting book club types. I'm neutral on cucumbers, but I don't love eating them. When it comes to eating sandwiches and burgers, cheese, meat / butter and jam is already Schway enough. Butter and jam, Schway enough. Put that on the label, Mary.
I don't like jam.
1 hour, 19 minutes and 27 seconds. I'm just thinking, can we start a jam company now with Schway Jam?
Oh my gosh. We could also do like savory jams as well.
A better comparison would be K2, not Mount Everest. Dang, the timing about mentioning Mount Everest seems a bit too timely considering what happened in the recent summit climbs. I actually prefer Croc's design in BTAS, really miss it by the time of TMBA happened, since their new comic faithful design is surprisingly uninteresting. Superman without a cape still works via his Brave New Metropolis, Justice Lords and Superman Beyond looks. Justice Lord Superman had a cape, he had a big white cape. Seriously, I don't understand why people are enamoured by the idea of clothes for characters like Lashina. I'll be bold to say this, at least I'll keep sane and happy with studying Star Wars Legends, while I feel sorry for people who still check out Doctor Who, especially with how the 13th iteration onward seemed to be getting a bit too controversial and unwatchable. I probably blame peeps like Chibnall. In short, at least Legends already has finished its run, while the ongoingness of Who, Disney's Star Wars, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, 343, Halo, and more is unbearable for now and perhaps forever. I can't say that I agree there, but you are entitled to your opinion. Episodes that should have been censored. Batman Beyond has April Moon, right? Well, yes, it does, as I mentioned earlier.
So now that we're at the end of BMP's comment, I have questions.
I can expire.
Okay, no. So I've written down some questions.
All right.
It doesn't have to be just be for Big Monkey P, but I've got questions. They just came to mind.
Mm-hmm.
The first one, north or south?
Can I answer any of these?
If you want.
South.
Yeah. And what I mean by that, north or south?
Yes.
Favorite soda?
Tizer.
Coke or Pepsi?
Coke.
Yep. And which Coke specifically is in this household?
Well, you have Diet Coke.
Yes. Sharks? Question mark.
Yes.
Okay. Trek or Wars?
Trek.
Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat?
Ooh, Street Fighter.
Idris Elba
Yes.
as Doctor Who?
Yes.
Yes. Anybody can answer those, by the way, but I just want to know. I just had these in my head when I was listening to Big Mike.
Yeah, all right. So everyone that leaves a comment that has listened this far, answer these questions at the end of your comment. Say whatever you want, and then at the end, provide your answers. So, north or south?
We could put them in the description.
Favorite soda? Coke or Pepsi? Sharks? Trek or Wars? Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat? Idris Elba as Doctor Who? Question mark.
Yes. I mean, we don't have to answer that because I know it's not going to be yes.
Everyone has to answer, and if you don't answer, then I know you didn't listen
so
this far.
I want him to be the Doctor first, and then I want I want him to be Bond and the Doctor at the same time.
He is getting on a bit now. I don't know if he could do James Bond.
Watch your mouth.
Or James Bond. The thing is, they always cast they don't always. They often cast old people as James Bond, and it just doesn't quite sit well with me, you know.
Watch your mouth. Idris Elba could do anything he wants.
I feel like Daniel Craig was quite old when he was cast. Anyway, I don't really like James Bond all that much anyway, so I'm not really invested.
Yeah, I've only watched one of them.
But actually, I would be happy for Idris Elba to be James Bond.
No, that's a lie. I've watched the Brosnan ones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We watched Casino Royale as well.
You watched that.
No, you watched it as well.
I was on my phone a lot.
Yeah, you probably were. You weren't that interested in it. Anyway, let's go on to another comment.
Questions, and then next time I'll have more questions.
Okay. Next comment is from SR Striker, who says, I remember not liking this because of the Sewer King, as like Roland Daggett, Rupert Thorne, Boss Biggis, Derek Powers, David Wheeler, and Joker, as they should be people who shouldn't be alive, as he should have been eaten by the alligators, and also the kid that Batman kept in his house. I don't know if he should be Robin, as we had Tim Drake, who was more Jason Todd than Tim Drake. I forgot to mention in the last video that I think Mongol should have been a villain in Superman Returns movie, as like the video game, as it would make sense on him being away from Earth for 5 years, not bother telling anyone on leaving Earth, as Christopher Reeve Superman would do a press conference, and the movie could parallel the father and son theme, as there is more than one Mongol. Okay, fair enough.
That would be good, I think.
Well, it's too late now, because Superman Returns came out 20 years ago. Maybe longer.
A lot longer, actually.
Yeah. Just goes to show that my grasp on time is not firm.
Well,
Um,
I still think that 2020 was like a year ago.
oh, I know, it's 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Crazy. Next comment is Ryan Jones, who says, I think that if Batman meets Bambi, he would definitely take him in and train him to be a bat deer. I don't really have much to say about the Sewer King. Luke, I also know someone at school who used to annoy me because he is a rich snob and was such a creep because he used to say, when I'm older, I will go back in the alleyways and say to people something gross, which is a very creepy thing. Luke and Mary, what is your opinion on Skylanders? I love them, but they're getting perilously close to falling out of my storage unit, aka my house. We were never really into Skylanders, were we?
So I have an opinion on this only because I worked for a game place called Game, and I thought it was pretty cool because I like Spyro, love Spyro, not just like, but I ended up forming a not so great opinion on them because of the adults that would come in and not be very nice about us not having certain ones in stock.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that answers your question because I never actually played it. We were more Lego Dimensions people, weren't we?
Yeah, I've still got the Lego Dimension stuff. We had some of the Disney Infinity things as well, but I got rid of those ages ago.
But I think if I wouldn't have worked at Game when it like first became like really really super popular, I would have a different opinion on it. But the way that people, adults, not the children, because the children were so kind about it, like, oh man, it's like, okay, call me next week. Like, I'm not gonna call you. Um, but the adults were not happy.
Mm-hmm. All right, so next comment is from Doc Widener, who says, thank goodness you're here. Happy post-birthday month, Mary. That's not a thing.
No, here, I want to say happy birthday to, I think it was Daniel and Sergey had their birthdays recently. So happy birthday, y'all. I was so happy I get to share my birthday. Post-birthday month does exist. It's I'm starting to get ready for Christmas now. Not for myself, but I like to plan ahead.
So to continue Doc's comments, he says, Luke, hope you're feeling better. Yeah, I'm like 95% now, so that's good. Still get the odd tickly throat, but it's fine. Not sure about the healing power of Diet Coke, but I do like pineapple OJ with zero sugar citrus drop, the Kroger brand of Mountain Dew.
I miss pineapple OJ. We had some at Crest grocery store. That was quite nice. But we don't do that over here, which sucks.
Alfred not knowing how to raise children. I think Alfred has a point. He can raise a child, but can he raise a happy, well-adjusted child? That does not appear to be the case. Hey, Dick Grayson's fairly happy and well-adjusted.
Yeah.
Those G.I. Joe PSAs gave me one of my favourite t-shirts, pie chart with the word the battle. Half of the pie chart is knowing. Yeah, okay.
I actually got that joke.
A quarter is red lasers and the other quarter is blue lasers. Very good. Dare, that takes me back. In Columbus, Ohio, where I grew up, the Columbus Police Department had a band called Hot Pursuits that would play mostly classics and oldie rock. As I recall, though they did have an original song you can find on YouTube. The only song I can emphatically say I know that they played and suspect they never played again was Tommy James and the Shondell song, Money Money. Though, if we are talking about the creators of B-Test, they would probably say the Billy Idol song, Money Money.
Did they have a MySpace?
Answers on a postcard. They played it at my high school. Oh yeah, so it wouldn't have been a MySpace if they played it at his high school. You guys may be too young for this. It was initially a mid to late 80s thing. I believe it still happens at Billy Idol shows. Anyhow, the song has empty spots lyrics-wise, where you can insert additional lyrics. In this case, it went something like this. The first line is the actual lyric. The second line is the inserted one. I said, here she comes now singing money, money. Hey, get laid, get effed. Shoot 'em up, come on, money, money. Hey, get laid, get effed.
I'd listen to that, wouldn't I? That sounds
Probably.
like some of the lyrics The Weeknd would say too.
So they started playing this song, and as I recall the crowd being kind of listless, suddenly the crowd is engaged, the band is excited by the feedback, as are the school administrators, until they realise what's being changed. The look of realisation on my principal's face is one of those core memories. They tried to get the kids who started this to stop, but the infection had spread. The band is still not quite able to figure out what is going on, so one of the assistant principals has to go up on stage frantically waving his arms to get the very confused police officers to stop. We then got a 10-minute lecture from the principal on how we can't have nice things, and that if she hears anything else out of us, we will all be facing suspension and the ringleaders would be expelled.
No, no.
We basically sat stone-faced and dead quiet for the rest of the concert, which was not what the band wanted.
Oh.
Luke, you need to schedule your illnesses so I can do shorter comments for those weeks. This one, I believe, will be shortish for me, partly because I resisted the temptation to try to teach you how to pronounce TSE fly. I know it from anthropology classes I taught in grad school about it. It carries malaria and how the sickle cell traits that can cause sickle cell anemia is, in a malaria environment, a genetic advantage. Hey, what do you think of what you have seen of the upcoming Superman film? I'm very hopeful, as are we.
We have very, like, I am stoked. Like, Nathan Fillion, that's one reason to see it. Two, the best reason to see it, Crypto, duh. And then, Beast from, X-Men.
Beast? Well, Kelsey Grammer?
No, the first
Oh,
class.
Nicholas Hoult.
Yes, I
Nicholas
always
Hoult.
forget his name.
Yeah.
Because I see his, I have his characters' names in my head first. So excited about that.
Should have just said the guy from About a Boy.
Forgot he was in that.
That's like the first thing he did. Or at least the first big thing he did.
That's not my sort of thing, though.
Anyway, I need to finish off Doc's comment, who says, on that positive note, done with brunch again. I hope you feel better, Luke. Getting ready to grill a bunch of stuff Mary won't eat. Things that should have been censored. The JLA episode Maid of Honor, where Princess Audrey says she wants her last night of unmarried life to go out on a bang, or more like more than one bang.
Yeah.
Yeah. If a group of fish is a school, I am wondering what a group of bangs might be called. It's called an orgy. And
that did not go in the way that I expected it to. I thought it was going to be something wholesome.
No, I couldn't think of anything wholesome, so I just went literal. No, we've already said that. If that's what they were implying, it was for my dirty mind. There are some question and huntress lines that come to mind. Yes. What are you wearing? That was a very funny one.
That's that. Every time I think of Unlimited, that's like one of the first things.
She says, "What are you wearing?" He goes, "Blue overcoat, fedora." She says, "You're terrible at this," and he goes, "Orange socks."
And she grins after that, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Anyway, next comment is from David Carney, who says, "Hi, Luke and Mary, happy 50th episode." Do you know what? We should have really planned that out, shouldn't we? Because this is the 51st episode.
Yeah. Thank you. I can't believe we lasted this long without, like, killing each other.
Yeah.
Almost.
David continues by saying, really enjoyed this episode as I find it one of the weirdest episodes. Find the Sewer King a little creepy at times, and I grew up on the X-Files and that show had a lot of creepiness. Never been a fan of shows talking down to you. Hope you all have a good week. You too.
For a moment, I thought he was going to say I'm not a big fan of Cher. I don't know if it's going to be like, well, I mean, older Cher, no, but pre-2020, okay. Yeah. I love Cher pre-2020.
I can only think of one Cher song.
If I could turn back.
Okay, two. You reminded me of that one. It was the one where she says she was born on the wagon of a travelling show. And they made a joke about it in Roseanne, about one of the daughters misheard the lyrics, thinking it was about chimpanzees.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I love that sort of Cher.
That's why it sticks in my mind. But anyway, thank you for your comment, Davey. David. I said Davey. Do people call you Davey? I bet they don't, so I'm just going to call you David.
I'm going to call you Dave.
Fair enough.
David.
The next comment is from a new commenter, or at least someone I don't remember, and I would remember because of they have cucumber in their name.
Cucumber.
I feel like my complaints about cucumber may have encouraged them to leave a comment. And their comment is, Red Dwarf mentioned, Gah! With a man shouting emoji with fire coming from his mouth. So thank you for your comment, one and only cucumber.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. Red Dwarf is excellent. I love Red Dwarf. It was one of my favourite shows as a kid.
I don't hate it. It's one of those shows where I don't get some of the jokes, and it's kind of... It's funny, but I like to understand things. Mm-hmm. And it's because I didn't come from here and all of that, so...
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I like about Red Dwarf, not to go off on a massive tangent, but when a lot of American shows, like the protagonists are like always like, you know, the top of their class, the best of the best, etc. Yeah. Red Dwarf, the last survivor of humanity, is basically a janitor.
Yeah.
With poor hygiene. and he's completely killed his taste buds with alcohol and cigarettes, and he eats horrendous things. Or you know what? A fried egg and chili chutney sandwich actually sounds really nice. That was like one of his favourite meals. I might make one. We got chili. We got chili jam. That'll count. I'm going to make one.
What did you say?
Fried egg and chili chutney sandwich is Dave Lister's favourite.
I am on a no carb kick
Mm-hmm.
because of diabetes. I'm trying something. Not carb, but like bread.
Mm-hmm.
So unless you can come up with like something where I can eat it, then you're not allowed to have it because I'll want it. I'm just kidding, by the way.
Yes, but you know the supporting cast is a neurotic android, a neurotic cleaning android. Yes, a descendant of his pet cat, who is now like just an arrogant humanoid walking around, just cares about his appearance, and a hologram of his former bunkmate, who he detested, who is like one of the worst people on earth, just like this neurotic and yet weirdly arrogant, massive underachiever. It's very funny. I probably haven't sold it to anyone, but if you get the chance to watch it, watch it. Big Mikey P, you'd like it.
He probably does like it.
You better. If he doesn't, there's going to be problems. Right. So the last comment I have here is from Zehanort10, who says, I've always thought the Sewer King was probably once an orphaned or abandoned street kid himself and is taking his anger out on the child slaves. Yeah, I think that's completely plausible. You know, it may very well be learned behaviour.
Word.
So those are all the comments that I can see. I'm just going to double check that there were none held. I checked this before, but there weren't any. It says there are none. Let me just sort by most relevant, just in case. There are all these different filters I have to display the comments, and sometimes, you know, the top comment contains an extra one or two, or...
While you're doing that, I'm going to tell them what I'm going to be doing this afternoon.
Well, okay, go ahead.
Staining. I'm, for the first time, I'm gonna try to stain something. We got a little cabinet, I say little.
Big cabinet.
We got a big cabinet built in the bathroom, that we've been wanting for a while, and then just got around to doing it. We did not build it. A wonderful person, builder, did it for us, and we left it with plain wood, which I'm not going to do next time. But now I want to see if we got this like ebony stain, and I'm going to see if I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because the wood that he did it with is actually pretty. It's like the texture of it is pretty, and I think a stain would be good. Otherwise, if I don't like the stain, I'll paint it black, like the rest of our bathroom.
Half of our bathroom. You've referred to it as our two-faced bathroom.
Have I?
Yeah, because it's got black walls but with a lot of white tiles, so it's black and white.
I don't remember doing that. I know I probably did.
This is how you sold me on the idea. And to learn live on camera, well, not on camera, but to learn live that it was a facade. It was a sham.
Didn't I also say something about Beetlejuice as well?
You might have done. I don't
Yeah, because I was thinking about just very briefly, which I would never do, wallpaper. And I say I would never do because I can't even draw a straight line with a ruler. So imagine me putting wallpaper up. But that's what I'm gonna do. I might get back to you guys on this. I don't know.
Maybe.
Any tips, tricks?
Well, it'll be too late by the time.
Well, if my ADHD lets me get to actually doing it, then we'll see.
Okay.
But please put tips and tricks in the comments.
So all that's left now, Mary, is to talk about what's coming up next time.
It's your turn to say.
All right. Well, next time we're going to talk about, as Mary has phrased it, what the heck characters from the DCAU.
Yeah.
So characters that you are surprised exist, that are really weird, you might think are inappropriate, you might think are just stupid, or that don't belong.
And you know Booster Gold's going to be in.
No, not Green Lantern.
I was going to make that joke. Yeah. Okay, guys. Now that the summer is kind of here, even though if you live in England, maybe you would not believe that. I am kind of like, I was going to say in a better mood, but I'm not. Sunshine doesn't like make me have a better mood, but it just, it makes me miss my home country because around this time of year it's quite rainy. And when I say rainy, I'm talking about like torrential rain. Um, and I miss that. And I was going somewhere with this, but I lost track, which kind of gives you a look inside my head. But I just want to say, no matter where you're at, I'll always love you. That's where I went with it, and that's where I landed.
Cool.
That was the kind of the whole point. Love you guys. Have a great day, and don't forget, no shoes in the house.